Up, everybody? Welcome back to Gridiron Across the U.S. Today is going to be our fourth episode, and today we're going to look into a preview for Week 15 of the NFL. You want to get us started?
A little bit of a switch up here to what we'll normally do, but some big news, as you can see by the hat. I'm not a UNC fan, I just have a hat. Bill Belichick is headed to North Carolina on a 3-year contract to be the head coach of the Tar Heels. They're calling him Chapel Bill. Um, I think it'll be interesting. We'll see if Belichick can get back into the NFL if he has success at UNC, and that's if he's still able to do it. He's quite the elderly fellow, but
His
I think this is a
girlfriend
good
isn't.
fit. What?
His
Oh
girlfriend isn't.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think this is a good fit. I think he's a highly respected coach, and I think it'll draw a lot of recruitment towards UNC and overall
100%.
boost their football program. What do you think?
I think the same thing as you. I'm not sure who their old coach was. I don't follow too much college football, but you bring in the greatest coach in NFL history, according to many, to a college team. And I mean, it's a switch for Belichick. He was going from coaching adults with like wives, kids. Now he's coaching teenagers. And we have seen how some of them can be based on some TikTok leaks of Carson Beck and Ryan Williams. I'm sure some of you guys have seen those, but it's a different environment for Belichick. But the recruiting is obviously going to be a huge factor because Chapel Hill, it's a prestigious school, and you add Belichick to that, it's going to draw in a lot of attention from recruits in the area and most likely all across the country. Because who wouldn't want to play for the greatest NFL head coach of all time?
Yeah, I 100% agree with I 100% agree with that one. I mean, you even saw their starting center had his name in the transfer portal and took it out when he heard about the Belichick news. So I think that will be big for the program. All right, we'll move on to our normally scheduled programming, and we'll talk about some key injuries from the past week. So the one I want to feature is DeMarvion Overshown, linebacker for the Cowboys. He was having a breakout season, and he looked like he could really be, the next Sean Lee, Leighton Vander Esch. I don't know. I don't know too much about Cowboys linebackers, but it's just unfortunate what happened. He accidentally hit the all of the above button and tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL. Yeah, it's just terrible for a guy who was having a breakout season and looked to be one of the NFL's premier young linebackers.
Yeah, I agree with that. He missed his rookie season with an injury also. That's two major injuries in 2 seasons for him. Just it's a tough blow because he's such a young player and he was really looking like he could be a Pro Bowl linebacker this year, but unfortunately his season just has to come to an end. We're going to move on to our next injury, which is Derek Carr. It doesn't really matter.
Always a Saints player on here.
It's always a Saints player. You've seen the Saints injury list. It's terrible. But now you add your quarterback. He got injured earlier this season with I believe an oblique injury week 6 against the Chiefs, and now he has a fracture in his hand, and he's going to be out week to week, not officially on IR, but the way the Saints season's going, I feel like he's pretty much done for the year. So what it means for him, I don't want to see him in a Saints uniform ever again. No disrespect to him. He had a good run, not really with the Saints, but he had a good run in his career. I think it's time for him to move on and Saints to just continue the rebuild. And Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener, most likely Rattler is going to be getting the start these next few weeks. He played earlier this season, wasn't too good, but now this could be his prove it point to establish himself as franchise or bridge guy going for the next few years. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a guy like Bryce Young. I feel like we talk about him every episode at this point, but we've seen him, be able to turn his season around after heading to the bench. So I wonder if Spencer Rattler will have the opportunity to do that. I know you don't want to see Derek Carr in a Saints uniform ever again, but
I'm gonna.
with that contract, it's going to be hard to achieve that. I wonder if the Saints target one of the premier quarterbacks in this year's draft class now that their season is over. They were really in the race for the NFC South. I mean, not a competitive division. They were within 2 games.
Still
But I
within
think
two.
I think the Carr injury puts a nail in that coffin. Just a terrible year for the Saints on the injury aspect. It was a promising season the first 2 weeks, and it all went downhill from there.
I remember those first 2 weeks, best 2 weeks of my life. I told too many people we were going to win the Super Bowl. Next,
Oh boy.
next few weeks weren't too good for me. I miss
Yeah.
those days.
All right. So we'll move on now to our Thursday night football preview. This episode is most likely going to come out after Thursday night, as it is the game's in an hour, but we'll still look at it. We've got the Rams at the 49ers headed to San Francisco, a close NFC West matchup. You got the Rams sitting at what, 7-6 now after that win over Buffalo, and the 49ers at 6-7. The 49ers win, they jump the Rams. The Rams win, they're in contention with the Seahawks for the division, and really as we've mentioned previously, the NFC West is anybody's division. We're hearing Garendo, Nick Bosa, and Greenlaw are all back for the 49ers. So I think that does give them the edge. I think it will mostly be a split backfield between Patrick Taylor and Isaac Garendo. But I think those two get backs on defense will help the 49ers out. And I think I got the Niners in this one. I think the Rams played some great football against the Bills, but their defense was too shaky. And now they're going up against a top tier 49ers defense. Don't know if they'll be able to keep up. What do you think?
I think what you said, those injuries, those people coming back, that's going to be a big factor for them. Dre Greenlaw's playing in his first game since he tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl last year. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's coming back. Nick Bosa also got his chip on his shoulder for a completely different reason, but he's also coming back. And I mean, the offense is still a little banged up. You got Patrick Taylor and Isaac Garendo running the offense at the backfield, but Garendo looked amazing last week. 26 fantasy points for me, but I am in the toilet bowl as previously mentioned. But I mean, I agree with you. I think the 49ers are going to take this one. They have their backs against the wall. The Rams have their backs against the wall, so it's going to be a hard-fought physical game. We've seen rivalry between these two teams many years. They've had a lot of playoff matchups. Rams used to get the better of them, but I feel like the 49ers are going to split the season series between them 1-1.
Yeah, I agree. And 49ers really have that home field advantage, even when they're playing in SoFi. I would say
Yeah.
they still have the fan advantage. So that will definitely play a factor into tonight's game. Moving on to our locks and
The
dogs
best part of
part.
the episode.
We went 3-1 last week. If you aren't already aware, go follow us on Instagram if you haven't already. So for this week, we'll start with our locks. I've got the 3-10 Carolina Panthers, who are favored in their first game in 33 games. As I've mentioned many times, I think the Panthers are playing some of the best football in the league right now. You look, they're hanging with the Eagles, hanging with the Chiefs. I really think that this Panthers team is on the verge of breaking through uh, at the end of this season and carrying into the next season. So I think the Panthers will take this against the Cowboys, who I picked against last week as well.
All right. I think that's gonna hit too. We glaze the Panthers a little bit here, but it's all good. Who doesn't love
Yeah.
the Panthers? And my lock of the week, I'm sticking with the hometown team in my area. I'm going with the Packers to beat the Seahawks on Sunday night. It's in Lumen Field, which we know is it's a big advantage for Seattle, but the Packers defense has just looked great. Xavier McKinney, he's got a ton of interceptions. I feel like he's going to get the best of Geno Smith. They got Jair out there, Rashawn Gary. That defense it's a good defense going up against a pretty good offense, but I'm not sure if Kenneth Walker is returning. Do you know if that's for sure?
He's still questionable. I think he was limited in practice. I have him on my fantasy team, so I've definitely been following that injury situation with the playoffs coming up, or the playoffs this week. But I do think he will play, and I think he will split carries with Charbonnet.
Yeah, going off of that, like that's on their side. But on the Packers offense, you got Jordan Love's he's a gunslinger, no other way to put it. He's going to push the ball downfield, he's going to make plays. And I feel like their offense is just going to make more plays than the Seahawks will. Seahawks defense, they got some names, but they've been a little stingy this season. Tariq Woolen, he's good, but he can get cooked a couple times, even with that blazing speed. You got Witherspoon and I believe Quandre Diggs left, right? I haven't really followed the Seahawks too much.
Yeah, I think he's in Tennessee now.
All the wash safeties go to Tennessee. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers to win this one on the road on Sunday Night Football. And I'm gonna get into my underdog of the week, which is the Dolphins beating the Houston Texans. When you look at the Dolphins, they're like most teams at this point of the season, their backs against the wall, and they're going to play a struggling Texans team. It's not the same team we saw last year. Stroud hit his sophomore slump. It's a real thing. And with that explosive offense, Tua's played amazing. He's had one of the best stretches of his career ever since coming back from that concussion. And with their high-powered offense and a Texans defense, they can rush the passer pretty well, but Teron Armstead and their O-line is pretty good. So I think the Dolphins are going to pull out a close upset there.
Well, yeah, I definitely do like that Dolphins pick. I think Tua is playing some of his best football right now. What, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last however
Yeah.
many games, I think. And he looks great. So I think that's a good pick. My underdog is the 3-10, 2, 3-10 teams this week. So if I get these right, you might want to start listening to me. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know we said no picking against the Chiefs
Too bad.
because they always find some devil magic to win it in one possession, and that's probably going to happen this week. But I think the Browns, they're +4, and I think they'll definitely cover the spread. When you look at Cleveland, they're a team who has, always been good at home. One of the best, one of, I wouldn't say best, better home field advantages. Those fans, I will give it to them, very passionate, especially when the Browns are not very good quite often. And I'm seeing it's going to be 46 and raining, which definitely favors the Browns and, Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, smash mouth football. And I really think, Jameis Winston playing for his career. I think the Browns get this one done. Jameis Winston, there we go. Um, I think the Chiefs are gonna, the Chiefs have the Texans coming up next Saturday, Steelers coming up on Christmas. I think they're gonna look past this Browns game like the Steelers did a couple weeks ago, and they're gonna go, okay, this is a free win. The Browns are never a free win. They're still a good football team, lots of talent on defense, and I think that's gonna come through. I think the Browns will take this. If it's gonna be a close game, the Browns don't take it, it'll be some Chiefs devil magic at the
Yeah.
end to win it. But I think the Browns are my underdog pick here.
Yeah, risky pick. Always going against the Chiefs is risky, but we almost got it last week. Hey, it's no good if you don't try again. So we're gonna shoot for it again.
I just want to add something onto that uh Packers pick. Kenneth Walker, I'm sorry, I got this wrong. He's for the second straight day, he has not practiced due to his calf injury. So it's trending towards he's not playing, which favors your pick in the Packers.
All right, that's pretty much all I got today. You got anything else?
Um, Yeah, I just wanted to bring something up that I thought was pretty cool. The NFL has announced a Berlin game for its international schedule. They've expressed interest in expanding, and I thought we would uh, show some interest in the international games, talk about our friends across the pond. So they'll be adding a game to Berlin to add to the Germany series, which I think the Germany series is better than the London series. Might be a hot take, but like that clip of them all singing "Country Roads Take Me Home," oh,
It's
that's so
great.
elite. And I think Germany is a very passionate country, so happy to see them get another game. The international series is always great. I mean, football from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Who would argue against that?
Hopefully this year will be a better matchup for Germany. This year they got the Panthers and the Giants, and at the time the Panthers weren't as good as we kind of portray them to be now, but that was just a bad game for them, but they still got a huge fan base there, so give them a good game and you could really boost that market.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, well, I think that is it for our Thursday episode, which is going to be shorter than our Tuesday one, as we previously mentioned last week. Go watch if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it. You got anything else?
Yeah, pretty much all I got. Stay tuned on Monday. I will have my first mock draft coming out. And then, as always, tune in next Tuesday and Thursday on Spotify and YouTube to listen to our next episode. And with that, we'll see you guys later.